Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Not in My City Unite. I'd like to welcome you all to another episode that I'm excited about. I have two guests here. We have Mike and Velma Conner from the Dream Center of Southeast Texas, and we're going to discuss what the Dream Center is, and they also going to, at the end, do something neat that I'm having them do, talk about dreams and how this became a dream for them, and not just a dream, but came into reality. So why don't you tell us about how the Dream Center started?
Oh, all right. Well, the Dream Center originally started in Los Angeles, California, with Pastor Tommy and Matthew Barnett.
Yes.
And it's an old hospital that's turned into a Dream Center. I'm helping the community there in Los Angeles. Mike and I actually met there. I was there for 17 years. He was there 14. We couldn't stand each other, so we ended up getting married. So it was a God thing when we got married. So we were there with the Dream Center there and learned a lot and got a lot of experience. And Mike came over to run the discipleship program, which is the men and women recovery program, those that are dealing with addictions and life-controlling issues.
Yes.
It's a 200-bed facility, and we had men and women there, so we had the honor and privilege of seeing 6,000 men and women come through the program.
Wow.
So that's how it got started. And then in 2016-ish, we felt the transition of starting another Dream Center of our own.
Okay.
And we were looking in Texas, more of the bigger cities like San Antonio, Dallas, Houston. And my husband just heard God said Beaumont needs a Dream Center.
Wow.
And so we've been visiting here, visiting daughter, stepdaughter, and grandkids.
Yes.
Every other year we come out here to Beaumont, and so we kind of knew a little bit about Beaumont.
Yes.
But you want to talk about?
Yeah, well, the first time God spoke to me, I said, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. I don't think that's God. So not because we felt like Beaumont was a bad place, but we had been here, and our view of Beaumont was Hotel Row on I-10.
Yes.
And so we thought it was just a sleepy little bedroom community on your way to somewhere.
Yeah.
And definitely not a destination city. But then I started doing the census search on the demographics and everything, and I saw the poverty, I saw the violence. At that time, it was number 3 in violent crimes per capita in the state of Texas. And so we just thought, okay, God, I guess you know what you're talking about. Beaumont needs a Dream Center. We spoke to several individuals who were our covering, and they all agreed that it was a God thing. Even Pastor Matthew said, I absolutely think it's a God thing, and we're going to support you for the first year.
Wow.
And so with that, we used our savings to buy an RV travel trailer and came out here on faith. Not a lot of faith, because my faith was if it didn't work out, I still had a travel trailer and I wouldn't be homeless. So.
Yes.
But we came out here and God just moved. We started outreaches in the park and then eventually wound up with the other facility. But I think that's another question you want to talk about. So
So you said again in 2016,
Yes.
God called you out here. And at that time, God was doing Not in My City as well. So he had a plan for everything.
Yeah.
And I like when you said you wasn't thinking about Beaumont, but God was.
Yes.
And so for him to send you to us, especially with the crime rate, I believe is a blessing and a miracle for our citizens here and in the surrounding areas. What is the purpose of the Dream Center and the mission statement behind it, so everybody can understand?
Yes, ma'am. We, our desire, if you will, of the Dream Center is to see everyone living their God-given dream. Now, that's just the overarching statement. But when you break that down, it's like we're a resource center for individuals that are struggling with addictions and other life-controlling problems, people that are struggling with poverty, being able to help them and not only provide resources for them to be able to feel secure in where they're at, but also to collaborate with other agencies like Not in My City and other agencies that we do collaborate with to reach as many people as possible. And so basically the bottom line is that we're here to help hurting people, which is like the original mission of the Dream Center: find a hurt and heal it, find a help and or find a hurt and heal it, find a need and fill it.
Fill it. Yes, I have that written down here too. And through that, how do you get your men or your women? Let's talk about how do you get the individuals to the Dream Center?
It's
Or
actually
referred?
it's actually word of mouth.
Oh,
I mean,
really?
once people
Okay.
hear about us and know that we have a free program, people just call. I mean, we get a lot of phone calls. We get referred to by churches, other organizations like Spindletop and some of these other places that have like outpatient, and they need to send clients more for a long-term residential program. And we even have people that are court-ordered from the judge. So
Oh, yeah, we love court ordered. They're motivated to stay.
Oh, yeah, it has no choice.
Yes.
So let's talk about some details on how you serve the community. I like how you said not just for addiction, but poverty and other needs in the community. What are some of the programs you have?
well, monthly, we have a food distribution. We actually have 4 days out of the month that we do food distribution where they come through. It's a drive-through, and we'll load up food for them. We also have clothing, pantry once a month, actually 2 days a month. And this is not just for clothing, but we have diapers and hygienes and things like that that, poverty, lower income families really need. And so they come and they actually get the clothes along with diapers and hygiene and cleaning supplies and things like that that we provide for them.
Right. And you also, when I was doing some research, Celebrate Recovery is a part of it, and DC Live.
Celebrate Recovery. We are a chapter of the National Organization of Celebrate Recovery.
Right.
I think in the beginning we were the only one in Mid-County. I think there may be another one now, but we were the only one in Mid-County. It is open to the public. And then every Tuesday night, we have what we call our chapel service.
Yeah.
And we call it DC Live.
Wow.
So it's every Tuesday night at 7. It's basically a time for our staff and our clients to get together and just worship God. In fact, our worship team are guys from our program.
Wow.
And so we just worship and just let loose. And usually, I'll give some type of a Bible study. We also have visiting ministers that come in from time to time and just really pour into them, because the spiritual component is very much a part of what we do. Our program is called the Success Program.
Okay.
And so success is an acronym that stands for supernatural understanding, for conquering chaos, and eradicating self-sabotage.
Wow.
And so it's holistic in the sense that supernatural understanding is the spiritual component, conquering chaos is the physical, and eradicating self-sabotage is the emotional or the soul component.
Wow. Wow. And you're talking about success and how you use that to help them. What are some of the practical tools you use to get that to the men to understand that?
There's so many different things that's part of it, because one of the things that I tell them when they first come in, I said, I don't really care about your past. I know there's hurts, and we're going to help you learn to deal with that. But the important thing is, let's forget about the past, let's look to the future. And so we're going to prepare you for success. And so what that entails is we have a spiritual component, which is Bible reading, scripture memorization, a Bible lesson of some type. And then the physical component is work therapy, which we have all kinds of stations across the campus, anywhere from housekeeping, landscaping, maintenance. We have animals. We have chickens, goats, cows, and soon to have horses for equine therapy. And so that's a real part of it, because it helps teach responsibility.
Yes.
And help them learn that there's something more that they can do and they can spend their life on. And then eradicating self-sabotage, we have various groups, Celebrate Recovery, the Genesis process. We have some process groups. We also have some counselors that come and help, do individual counseling, some spiritual, clinical spiritual, and others are drug and alcohol, and really helping the whole person, because we believe that God created us body, soul, and spirit.
That's right.
And so if one thing is out of whack, then it just really messes with our whole being. And so we've got to try to bring that back into alignment. And obviously, the first core principle is the spiritual principle.
Yes. Yes. What about also when I was reading over and looking at your website, the residential programs, the men recovery program, and the other program and the voice, which we just talked about, of success. So let's talk about the men recovery program first.
Well, the men's recovery is the success program.
Okay, all right.
And so that's what that was about. I'm sorry I got ahead of you.
No, that's
so,
okay.
but,
No, we love it. I like this.
It's individuals that come in that are broken.
Okay.
And, in recovery circles, we like to say tore up from the ground up.
That's right.
And so it's one of those things that we get people that come in, we will take them in most of the time on Monday through Wednesday.
Okay.
But in emergency situations, we will let them come in. One of the things that we really are big on is making sure that they understand what they're getting into.
Yes.
We're not one of those recovery programs where you can just sit around and watch TV and get pampered by a chef and sing Kumbaya. So there's different components to what we do, and
Yes.
and it is a completely free program.
Yeah.
So at least to them, obviously it costs us something,
Yes.
but it is a completely free program, and I have 20 years in this. Velma and I were both drug and alcohol counselors in California.
Yeah.
We chose not to reciprocate that when we came to Texas, because Texas has a certification where you can be a faith-based recovery program.
Yes.
So it's kind of our goal when we grow up, if you will, to be a faith-based certified recovery program here in the state of Texas.
Wow. We didn't know that. That was something new. Let's talk about a day, just the average day at the Dream Center. Just in case we have someone watching that's interested, that might want to come and get help. What would be their day when they wake up to
You want me to
bedtime?
talk about that?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so the men's recovery program. So a typical day would be always starting off with prayer. So they get up at 6, and 6:30 they do prayer walk.
Wow.
So it's very important, to be able to get up and pray. The first thing you do is pray. So we have a 50-acre facility, and there's a circle in the middle, which is about a mile. And so they just go around the circle and just pray. And after prayer, they go to breakfast, and after breakfast, we have devotions. So during devotions, usually there's like worship. We have videos that are worship, or we have someone on staff, or some of our interns or missionary volunteers will give an encouraging devotions in the morning. And then from there, they go to work therapy. Like you said, there's a lot of things to do around the campus, especially like mowing the yard, 50 acres.
It's large.
So they're assigned different work areas. We have like the kitchen crew, animal therapy, landscaping. We have even people work in the office. So they have work therapy, and then they go to lunch, and then in the afternoon they have a couple more hours of work therapy. And then depending on what evening it is, they have, like he's talked about, Genesis group, process group, or we have DC Live. They have study night, celebrate recovery, steps. So there's different things going on in the evening. And then usually on the weekends, it's kind of our it's kind of their day off, just kind of relaxing, and they have visitations from family. And also when we have outreaches, the food distribution, they actually are the ones that are running the whole thing. So they check people in, they do paperwork, and then they actually load the food. So it just kind of gets them outside of themselves, and it's just really good because they're serving the community, and that really helps with.
And they're learning a
what they're
lot of
going
different
through.
skills
Yes.
that can help them after when they leave. I like that they also can stay connected to their family.
Yes.
How
Well, a typical week for us is we go Tuesday through Saturday pretty strong.
Oh, wow.
And with outreaches on the weekend, and then of course Sunday church, and Monday's kind of like our Sabbath, where they just rest and study and do all their testing out for the previous week.
And what about you all? How's your average day?
24/7. 24/7.
We typically try to take off on Mondays.
Good.
What that usually means is we work from home instead of in the office.
That's
so.
good. But you're taking a break away from the campus.
Well, actually, we live on campus, so. But it's away from people.
I'm still at the beginning with your RV, So you still have that, right?
Well, we don't live in there anymore.
Okay.
Because after Harvey, we actually had to go back into an RV trailer.
Okay.
Because we got flooded with Harvey. But we
okay.
stayed in the RV trailer for 2.5 years, but we stayed on campus. And then our board allowed us to get a little tiny house. Well, actually, it's a small house. I call it my little house on the prison. But it's 600?
600 square feet.
So it's a lot bigger than
Yes, it
an
is.
RV trailer.
It is.
So we do live on campus, and that's kind of our little oasis where we kind of get away. Even though we're there, we get away from everybody and just kind of have our little.
With our 2 fur babies.
Yes.
And I mean, I like the joke you made, but it brought me back to what the Dream Center was before it was the Dream Center. It was a TYC was a youth facility for juveniles that was sentenced for different crimes. So that's why you're saying your little house on the prison, because it literally was, but it was for juveniles. And then God blessed you. Let's talk about how God blessed you with the property that you have and all the acres you have.
Well, like he said, when we first came here, we were doing outreaches in the park. And so many people came to us and say, what about that old prison, that juvenile prison off the Highway 69? And we're just like, what are you talking about? So we looked at it, we're like, wow, that's a really big place. And it is.
At this time, our budget, I'm sorry to interrupt,
No,
but
go
our
ahead.
budget
This is free
at this
flowing.
time was less than $1,000 a month.
Wow.
We were renting 2 office spaces downtown for $300 a month, and then we'd spend about $500 a month on supplies to do our monthly outreaches. And so we were looking at this, and we're like, oh, I don't know.
So it was like, wow, when we actually went to look at it. And it was a total God thing because, number one, we were a new nonprofit. Nobody knew us in this area. And we're from California, so that's kind of like strike 3, right? But God just,
Texas.
yeah. So God just really opened the doors for us, and we actually presented a proposal to the county. And because I think we had the experience from the LA Dream Center, and we can actually utilize the whole campus. There's 13 buildings there, it's 50 acres, and we can utilize and for the future, our vision is to have a lot of residential programs. And because we were able to make that proposal, the county actually gave it to us for 20 years, $1 a month lease.
Wow.
Yes. So, however, we gotta fix all the buildings. So,
But God, just like he blessed you with it, he's going to provide the finances and the people to fix it up. I truly believe that. When you said future, the Holy Spirit just really just pricked me and said, let's talk about the future of the Dream Center. And what is the vision that God has given you all for the future, and how, because normally when you're a leader, and I mean, the leadership that you all are moving in with that large facility and land that you have, I know God has shown you just different things and programs and people that are going to come there, and you'll be able to help them and heal them. Just give us just a little bit of the vision, if whatever God allows you to share that you can, because I know sometimes he doesn't want us to share everything, of where you see the Dream Center in 10 years.
in 10 years, I think we can see hundreds of people walking around on campus. Because once we get these buildings and these dorms finished, we'll be able to not only help like men and women, because our next program, our next service we'd like to do is get the women's program up and running, because we get a lot of phone calls for that. Mm-hmm. From there's other programs like human trafficking. I ran another program for about a couple of years in human trafficking. So there's a big need for that. And I know with I-10 being right there, mm-hmm. and just the sex trafficking that's going on. So we'll be able to have a safe house and house them with adults. Yeah. Exactly. With adults. Everything we deal is with adults, except for also those that are aging out of foster care. Yes. To be able to help them have a place to stay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And along with veterans program as well. Wow. Yeah. So we have we have a vision for different programs helping different types of population. So we just know there's a need in these these ones that I have talked about.
Well, and a couple that she didn't mention that also are important are we want to be able to have a school of practical ministry.
Wow.
Where it's more hands-on and teaching people how to work. Because, you see interns a lot of times in different churches or different things, and they're just the gophers. They're
Yes.
just, they're doing all the work that nobody else wants to do. And
Yes.
so what we want to be able to do is train up a whole generation of leaders, because I'm really big in John Maxwell leadership style and
Yes.
really trying to help people become people of influence, from the clients that are in our program all the way up to individuals that, like, say someone doesn't want to go to college right away and they want to have a gap year. That's a perfect opportunity for them to be able to come and just really see, do I really want to be in ministry or not? And teach them exactly what hands-on ministry is all about. And another aspect is that we are personal friends with the gentleman that started the Lord's Gym up in Roseville, California.
Yeah.
So we have a charter for the Lord's Gym. And so we are waiting. We have an individual that is actually a product of the Lord's Gym.
Wow.
That he came through our program in Los Angeles, and he's now saving his money, getting ready to come here to be a missionary volunteer, and he will be heading up that Lord's Gym with all kinds of youth sports programs and being able to reach out in the community and just to have something for kids all the way from sports up to even homework help afterwards to be able to help them.
So what if I'm a person that want to be involved, get connected, volunteer? I know something else I saw on the website that we didn't talk about is your store. It's a store you all are getting ready to do and have donated, need donations from that. So let's talk about volunteer, prayer partner, financial support, and a wish list.
Well, volunteers, we're always needing volunteers from, again, mowing lawn or helping with some of our distributions at clothing pantry. So we always in need of volunteers. And so what somebody can do is just call us, and we have actually personal orientation and tours. So there's a couple days a week that we have time that they can come, and we have a team that will sit down, and we just want to go over the basics of what volunteering means and safety and things like that. So they can just call our office and make an appointment and come and have an orientation and take a short tour of the campus. So it's very easy.
Okay. Let's talk about the store.
The store, we're working hard to get that off. I had some setbacks with my health, and so we kind of had to put that on the table for a little bit. And then there were some other internal things that came up, but we are moving forward right now, working with the insurance company to get the insurance certificate so that we can sign the lease. And basically what we hope for the store is two purposes. Number one, to be able to train individuals with the vocation, such as in retail. I started in retail. I tell people, if you really want to be a preacher, you need to go work retail through Christmas season in order for you to learn how to deal with people. And so we really want to have that as part of that. Then also, our goal is that this will provide us income that'll take care of our overhead expenses, so that all the funds that come into the Dream Center can be used strictly for programs. And so as far as wish list goes, we are still searching, still needing clothing racks and anything that you could think of that you were in a store. And so if you know of anybody that has any, free 99 is good. We like that all day long. So. But we do have some funds that we've gotten from various organizations and churches that have helped us out and individuals. And so we're going to go full steam ahead on that and just make inroads in the community. It'll be a ministry center as well, where people coming in will be able to minister to them. And we brew our own coffee.
Wow.
So we'll be able to offer some of our own coffee or roast our own beans for all that. And so we'll be able to offer that to them and just really, make a difference in the community. That's our number one goal, is to be an impact in this community and to be able to reach out and to make a difference, to be a difference. And that's why we invite people to get, to join with us, because if you want to make a difference, you have to be a difference.
That's right. So where are y'all located? First, let's say where the Dream Center is located, and then where the future store will be located.
Okay, so we are located at 3890 FM 3514. It's off of Highway 69 in Mid-County. Like I said, the old juvenile center. That's where the Dream Center is. And the thrift store is going to be located in Port Neches, which is not too far away from the Dream Center. There's a shopping center.
Village Square Shopping Center.
Okay. Yes.
So it'll be there. One other thing I want to add, wish list, another thing, a major thing that we do need are 15 passenger vans. As we grow, we're going to need something to transport more people, whether it's that or maybe like a shuttle bus, something like that.
Yeah, let's just go straight to the
To the
bus.
bus.
Yeah,
Let's
let's
just
just go
say
straight
a
to the
shuttle
bus.
bus,
So
yes.
we're growing so much right now.
Yeah. I mean, I can, well, as you talking, Lord has taken me from 2016 all the way to now and just seeing how he has multiplied real quick. And really blessed you all and allowed a lot of programs to just be added on and added on and added on. And not just multiply you all, but help multiply our community with you all being here so that people won't have to be bussed off, as we say in buses, to Houston or somewhere else to get the help that they need. They can stay here and the family can visit them here to help them recover quicker. Any events or new projects you all have coming up that you want to share?
We're going into active fundraising mode here in the fall. So as you may or may not know, September is National Recovery Month, and so we're almost out of it, but it's kind of a kickoff for our fall campaign where we just really focus on what we call Voices of Success, which is the individuals that are in our program sharing their stories. And we actually have some graduates of a previous program that are going to be sharing, talking about the importance of a women's program, because that's really going to be our big focus. We have the funds to complete the sprinklers for the men's, and so then we have to start raising money for the women's. And the fire marshals, they like those sprinklers, and we want to make sure that we're in compliance with everything there. And so we really need this fundraising season, $100,000 to be able to do all that. And so we're just believing God. I know that may sound like a lot, but from what I know about Beaumont, BMT stands for Big Money Texas.
That's
and
right.
So there's money here. We're just calling it in. We're speaking to the east and the west
That's
and the
right.
north and the south, and
That's
we're just
right.
asking God for his angels to bring it in and just really bless us, not because of who we are, but to bless us because of the people that we're trying to reach. This is God's heart.
Yes.
These are the broken people, the ones that society, turns their head as you're walking through the street. These are the people that sometimes people think they're never going to amount to anything, and they've been spoken that to them most, if not all of their lives.
Yes.
And so we're here to break those curses. We're here, and I'm sorry if I'm getting a little bit preachy,
No,
but
this is what we do.
This
It's
is my
however way.
passion, and this is what we do. And so we really, really, really focus on helping people be the best they can be. I guess the best way that it was described to me by my mentor is looking inside of individuals and seeing the greatness that God created in them and helping them pull it out.
Yes.
And that's what we do, just pull it out so that they can go forth and be a blessing to someone else and help save someone else.
Yes.
And it's an honor and privilege just to watch someone come in that's so broken and just really at their lowest point, and then watch the transformation take place and how God gets a hold of them. And that's the thing. It's like, we don't do anything. We just provide an atmosphere for them to receive. We provide the Bible study. We provide a atmosphere where they can get to know God.
Yes.
And so it's exciting to watch that, because we just sit back and watch, and we provide the environment, and then just to see them get closer to God and just really change from the inside out is just amazing. So from the time they get in and by the time they finish and graduate, they're a totally different person. It's not the same person that came in.
A total transformation.
Yeah, and that's exciting.
How many graduates have you had since?
We have had about 5 graduates so far in the year, not quite 2 years, but almost 2 years the program's been in existence. And then we've had other individuals that, for whatever reason, they weren't able to continue because of obligations they had. And so there's probably another half a dozen of them that are out there living successful, fulfilled lives and just really making a difference in society. And the program that we developed in Los Angeles had about a 30% graduation rate.
Wow.
Which is about 3 times the national average for year-long programs. And so we expect to either match that or even surpass that here as we get fully geared up. And our vision is not just bringing them in and giving them a piece of paper and sending them on their way. Our vision is more of a 3-year vision where phase 1 is the treatment portion where it's the recovery for 10 to 12 months. Phase 2 is training. Eventually, we will have vocational training on site. Right now, we're partnering with other organizations around the area to be able to train some of our guys. We've had our guys go to welding school and
Wow.
automotive school and air conditioning, HVAC. So really learning to different trades that they're going to be successful in. And then phase 3 is transition, where we actually let them stay on campus and save their money so that this is a safe place for them to learn how to deal with money. Sadly, we've seen individuals that will graduate a program, go get a job, and their first paycheck, they go out and blow it all on drugs and wind up being found dead somewhere in an alley. And so we want to make sure that we're holding their hand until they're able to walk on their own. And that's what we're all about, is trying to make people succeed.
And we have a couple of people in transition where they're working full-time and staying there and being able to save their money.
Good to know. And I like what you breaking down the phases, so if someone is watching, they'll know it's 10 to 12 months for the first phase.
Yes.
To get
Well,
yourself.
and don't think 3 years, that scares people, so. But, the other 2 are optional, so I just have to throw that in there because we don't want to scare anybody off.
No.
But there are some options after you complete the recovery program, and we want you to know about them.
No, I like the 10 to 12 months of structure
Yes.
and safety to make sure that you're totally whole and recovered from whatever the addiction, your poverty, whatever situation that you're in, that it takes longer than 90 days. Because I know some facilities are 90 days, and then they relapse and then they're right back in a 90-day, or you know what I'm saying? So I like to hear the 10 to 12 months. I know they might not like to hear that, but 10 to 12 months just to make sure that they're in a safe place and that they can maintain their sobriety and be able to move forward and do what God would call them to do.
Well, in perspective, Pastor Charlene, that 10 to 12 months represents like not even 2% of their lifetime.
That's right.
And so it's just investing 2% in a place that's going to help you get the rest of your life back on track.
And we found that majority of the people choose to stay the second year because they want the accountability and they don't want to go out there too quickly.
Yes.
So we found that a majority of them will stay that second year.
Yes, I used to work at Buckner's Children and Family Services with adolescents, and I agree with you because most of the time people want structure.
Yeah.
They want you to give them a schedule. They want to know what they're going to do at this time and at this time, especially if they have an addictive personality. They have to have structure. And so I love the program that you have from morning to night and then your phases to keep it structured, routine, and that they'll know that they have a chance to succeed. When I was reading over the website, and I get an honor to see y'all every Sunday when y'all here, and because you belong to One City Church, and I've heard pretty much all of this, but a little more in depth today. And looking over the website, the Lord took me back to 2011. I was going through past your property now. It wasn't yours at that time. And I had to go through Mid-County to go to Orange. And then I was like, I'm doing the whole Golden Triangle is what we call it here. And the Lord said, I'm going to take you this way because I want to show you how I truly created the Golden Triangle. And before I got to the property that's now Dream Center, it was nothing. I mean, at that time it closed down. You know how it looked because you took it over. High grass, just very, just sad and just really wanting life. And so I started praying for that property. Every property I would pass by that was looking dead and needed life and people to take over and do something with it. And I didn't know you all would get it. And that was way before you even got here. And so he took me to that. And then this is what he gave me for you all. Defending the call of the poor will cause God to make you stand up and move you up higher. And so I said, okay, they're defending the call of the poor. And poor, sometimes we think of poverty, but some people with addiction, people that have been abused, may not be financially poor, but in their spirit,
Yes.
in their soul, in their body is lacking. And so I want to thank you on behalf of not just our church. I know Pastor Randy and Suzanne Felshaw love you all, and we're grateful to have you, but just on behalf of our community, thank you for coming from California to Beaumont. Not everybody knows about Beaumont, not everybody loves Beaumont, and everybody passed through Beaumont to get to Louisiana normally, but truly accepting the call, even though you have heartily accepted it, but you accepted it. And you brought some beauty to Beaumont, to Mid-County, and to the Golden Triangle. And so as we come into a close, I really want you both to encourage somebody that might be watching that, have a dream, but really don't know how to manifest that dream. And somebody might not even know it's a dream. And how you all allow God to help you manifest your dream. So if I was someone watching and I really want to start a nonprofit, or I have a dream, how would I go about manifesting it?
Let me go.
Go ahead.
Well, for us, we were at the Dream Center for many, many years, and we supported someone else's dream. And I remember both of us, we would sow seeds into ministries. We would sow seeds, and we saw everybody else making their dreams come true. Their dreams are coming true, and they're being sent out. And it was when is it going to be our turn? But we were faithful in sowing seeds and supporting other people with their dream. And so when all this happened, and when all this happened, I just stand in awe of God, because it was this doesn't happen to us, but because we sowed seeds to other people and their dreams, that when it was our time, God opened the heavens and just poured everything to us. So when this happened, it was I was always in awe. I was God, this doesn't happen to us, but because I believe we poured into other people and sowed seeds. And then when that time came, God opened the heavens for us, and that's why we're here. It's not anything it's not because we know what we're doing or anything like that, but because we were faithful in supporting someone else's dream. Yes. And I believe that's why how it manifested, because we were faithful in helping someone else. And then when it was our time, God opened the heavens for us.
Every year in Angelus Temple, which was the church of the LA Dream Center, Pastor Matthew would have an offering in December, and he would call it a Happy Birthday to Jesus offering. And so we would give in that faithfully, sometimes to the point of sacrificial, to where we had to do without something to be able to do that, but we felt it was important. And we never saw a return. I mean, you shouldn't expect a return, but yet part of you is okay, God, like she said, when are you going to bless us? And I kid you not, that when we made the decision to come here, it was like God had held everything in reserve till that moment, and then
Wow.
It just all came out. I mean, coming out here, we had seed money from a church with $10,000. The pastor's son had been in our program. He wanted to bless us coming out here. During Harvey, we reached out to Joyce Myers. They sent us $10,000. And it's just there's been $10,000, $25,000, $50,000. And while that may seem like a lot of money, our overhead is about $25,000 a month. And so one of the things I learned is that the devil will send dream stealers and dream killers. And, Jesus said that the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but I am come to give you life and life more abundantly. And a lot of people take that to mean riches, but riches is not just monetary. And it's more than that, of seeing lives fulfilled and seeing dreams come to pass, because we see it every day. We see it. And Pastor Tommy drilled into us this fact. If you can do your dream, and it's something you can do, then it's not big enough and it's not a God dream. And so our dream was, come out here, do outreaches in the park and rent a house, a 5-6 bedroom house, and start a little program on the side. And it was like, God just chastised us for that. It's like, I don't know if that's the reason why we lost everything in Harvey or not, but it was like, that was the stepping point.
Yes.
And so when you have a dream and you go for it, there's going to be a time where it's going to be like the enemy's going to come in. And for us, it was literal, like a flood, and wash everything out. And it took us losing all of our earthly possessions to be able to trust God. It's okay, whether it's $500 or $25,000, it really doesn't matter.
Yes.
Because you're in control of it. And so we begin to step out in faith on that. And so every month, God meets our needs. In fact, our accountant tells us, I don't know how you guys stretch dollars the way you do. So we're like, well, it's not us. Yeah. But the first thing that you need to do is that you need to get that dream in your heart and make sure it's bigger than you. The second thing is surround yourself with people that are going to feed that dream. You don't want to share it with everyone. You want to be able to share it with people that are going to feed your dream and cultivate it and help you grow it. And just realize that you can. And if you got nobody, call me. Please call me, 409-234-5255, and I will be your biggest cheerleader, because we believe that God has dreams for everyone. And when we're here to help people fulfill their dreams, in fact, that's what the Dream Center is all about. We serve the individuals that come to us, whether it's through food or clothing or through the recovery. We serve them to help them realize their dreams. So that's what it's all about. Dream big, dream big.
And as you both were talking, I really hear the Holy Spirit say that because you all forsake a lot of stuff and just went to zero, it allowed his right hand to move on your behalf, to release everything that you all needed, not just for those seasons, but I believe for as long as God has the Dream Center here. And it goes beyond you all. Because you all mentor other people. And just like you're saying, Mr. Mike, you'll be their biggest cheerleader. And see, that's how God blesses as well. Because sometimes we have a dream and we just focus on me. But when we seed, like you said, or help others, then God begin to move on our behalf. And you all helped Way in California for so many years. The least of us is who you help. And so right now, let's talk to those. I want you both to minister to those that are hurting or addicted or just having a hard time that may need help, that can't get to the Dream Center because this is on YouTube. This could be watched anywhere around the world.
There's somebody watching right now that's hurting. And God knew that you were going to be watching this and you were going to be seeing this. And what he wants to speak to you, and I don't claim to be a prophet or anything like that, but this is one thing that I do know, that God's heart is near broken-hearted people. You look throughout the Bible, you see the great men and women of God. They were people that had their hearts broken. Sometimes they were broken and stepped on, but yet God raised them up out of the ashes and brought them into their dream. And you know, the Dream Center is just a physical place, but yet it's much, much more than that. The Dream Center can be in your heart, where you realize that God is birthing something inside of you and helping you understand. And in Genesis, it talks about how the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, brooded over the waters during creation. just brooding like a hen broods over eggs, waiting for them to hatch. And, the Holy Spirit at that time was waiting for creation to hatch. And in this day and age, he broods over us. He hovers over us, hatching the dream that God has placed inside of you, and that dream that's been crushed, that dream that's been knocked down so many times, but yet you know that God has something bigger, God has something better. And he does. And so wherever you're at, whatever is going on in your life, I encourage you to find a Bible-believing church and get involved. I know sometimes people are hurt by churches, but find somebody. If you're struggling with addictions, find a recovery group. Celebrate Recovery is one that I highly recommend. Find a recovery group. Get involved, because the only way that we can really sometimes get outside of our mess is by someone reaching down and pulling us up. I'm sorry, you probably didn't want me to preach, but I love John chapter 11. It's probably one of my life verses. And it talks about how that Jesus resurrected Lazarus from the dead. And he did, he rose him from the dead, but when Lazarus came out, it wasn't a pretty picture. He was a mummy. It was like your worst B-movie nightmare. He was all bound up, and he probably wasn't walking. He was probably hopping. His face was all covered. They couldn't hear him. He was probably mumbling. Body fluids had seeped through the coverings. He didn't look good. He didn't smell good. And that's like a lot of people find themselves in that situation. But Jesus said this. He said to the people around him, "Loose him and let him go free." And maybe you're watching and you're someone that has a burden for that, and God would speak that to you to go out and search for individuals. You don't have to have a degree. You don't have to have any of that. You just got to have compassion to help hurting people and follow what God has said. Loose them and let them go free, because it's a process to unwrap those grave clothes. It's a process, and it's not pretty. And it sometimes hurts and it sometimes smells, but the rewards, I am telling you, are out of this world, and God will bless your socks off, especially when you see that individual thriving and succeeding and doing what God has called them to do. And I'm going to shut up before I start jumping around here.
I know, I'm like.
Do you want to share, my dear?
Yes.
Don't do life alone. Don't do life alone, especially nowadays with the COVID and people just want to kind of hibernate. That's not a time to stay home. Like you said, get involved in the church. Surround yourself with people that are going to encourage you, lift you up, and get you out of that pit. So don't do life alone. Get involved with something bigger than yourself.
And I'm just going to piggyback off of what you said. I wrote it down. I think you should make a T-shirt with it for the Dream Center. The Dream Center is in your heart. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say it again. The Dream Center is in your heart. There's as many people sitting out there saying, well, I can't get to Beaumont, Texas, or I can't get to California Dream Center. The Dream Center is in your heart. And so I also like what I read on your website, building a better tomorrow brings the difference today.
Yes.
We have to be the difference today, because he preached and I'm excited. So we're going to end before we go in a church service and have an altar call. We're going to end this episode, and I'm so happy that you all came today and was able to visit with us at Not in My City Unite. Make sure you subscribe, that you hit the reminder button, and join us again for another Not in My City Unite. Bye-bye.